Hey everybody, this is just a quick video. I wanted to discuss hard drives. Um, Before you say it, before you go, oh, it's just Diesel Bear, this is talking about hard drives in the enterprise and NAS sectors. And a huge mistake from a company that I support so well, and I'm going to blackmail them over this because this is ridiculous. A while back, an article came out discussing hard drive swaps from CMR to SMR, or shingled, basically where it's a shingled disk instead of a flat platter. And they did this to cut cost. But the biggest thing is that these drives are slower and very inferior in speeds to their CMR counterparts. But we found a whole new issue. WD has actually done this to their red line of hard drives, a very popular line of hard drives, where the first biggest thing is they actually substituted in these drives over their CMR counterparts in most of the popular configurations, such as 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, and 6 terabyte. The issue is that when these drives were being put into a ZFS pool, A, they were running a little bit slower, but not noticeably so. It's like, yeah, it's a hard drive array, so yeah, it's going to run slower. But B, if one of these drives were to fail, when you put a new drive in, it's like STH did an awesome video about this, so go check them out. But they did a video talking about testing the SMR versus CMR hard drives, and they did an experiment where they took a computer, installed FreeNAS, loaded 4 of these drives into the computer, set it up in a ZFS pool, filled the array to about a 60% capacity, pulled a drive, and put a new drive in its place, simulating a failure, sending the RAID array into a rebuild mode. And what we discovered is really not good. On the CMR array, it only took about 15 to 17 hours for the array to rebuild. That's kind of typical for ZFS for any array size. It's about a day to a day and a half tops for the array rebuild. However, when they tested this with the SMR hard drives, we discovered something very radical. I mean very radical. The same size array, the resilvering of the array took 2 weeks, plus took 17 to 18 days. They were worried it was going to take more like 30 days. That's not acceptable. And what's even worse is WD does not disclose directly that these drives should not be used in CFS. That's very ungood. That's very bad. And so I cannot, and I've been using WD Red drives for years. I've been using WD drives for years. I cannot in good conscience recommend these drives. A, because of their failure to disclose the CMR versus SMR, which I went to Amazon just about 5 minutes ago and checked into this, and they have changed their ways. They do disclose which drives are CMR and which drives are SMR, and part of it is because of this. But one of the things that a WD doesn't disclose is things you shouldn't do with these drives, these SMR drives. One of which is use it in ZFS or any form of ZFS. So if you're using FreeNAS, or you're doing like I do, where I have a custom Debian server I'm running ZFS and SMB on, this could be, if I had these drives in my system, I would probably be wanting to yank them out pretty quickly, because that's not a good scenario to be in. If my server doesn't hold data that's that important to me. My server basically is my media front end. I have physical backup copies of everything on my server, with the exceptions of some of my PC backups and my Minecraft server backup. But for an SMR, for any type of hard drive to take so many days for a rebuild, that's not good. And it's about time that companies like WD stand up and say, hey, we're at fault. It would be really great to see WD disclose this information. Also give some of these misled customers a refund on these drives, or even a partial refund. hey, we're sorry, here's half the cost of the drive. Or here's so much off of a new CMR drive. And so, I cannot in good faith recommend WD Red hard drives anymore because of this. They've basically turned this drive into a black sheep. They've really ruined the name of this hard drive. And they did it so secretively. You know, had I built a new NAS in the past year, got these drives in, did not know that they were SMR drives, threw them in the system, was trying to figure out why it's slower, trying to diagnose drives, but on top of that, when a drive failed, happened to have replaced one of these drives and realized that the resilvering was going to take so many days. That's sickening. And what's even worse is I went back and looked at some of the dates on one of my bids. I bid those drives, those very drives. I didn't even know I was bidding SMR drives. And so this is not a good situation to be in. So I highly recommend that you steer clear of the WD Red hard drives until they start being real with their customers. And if you're looking for a good hard drive, the HGST drives, yes, I know that's a Western Digital company, but those drives are CMR. And I also know that the Seagate Iron Wolf drives, those are CMR drives. Go for those drives. And in fact, I was doing price comparisons. The WD Red CMR drives versus the Iron Wolf drives, CMR drives. There's a big difference. In fact, I might start going to the WD Iron Wolf and Iron Wolf Pro Series drives because they are disclosing information that is necessary, in fact, to the use of the hard drive. So I wanted to put a little PSA out there. If you want more information, go check out Serve the Home. STH, those guys did a really amazing job talking about the issue with the SMR hard drives. So thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about the bad lighting and sorry about the vertical video. I'm doing this kind of on the fly. I wanted to get this information out there as quick as possible because this is serious. And go during a weekend when your business is shut down. If you have servers and NASA's running these WD Red drives that you have purchased within the last year, go Google those model numbers. Pull those drives out and Google the model numbers. If they're SMR drives, I highly recommend starting to replace them with CMR counterparts. Make a full backup of your system onto a drive and start looking into replacing those hard drives. I cannot in good faith see the WD Red SMR drives succeeding after all the information that has come out. So if you are from Western Digital and you're actually watching, please stop. Stop substituting these bad hard drives in place of the good WD Red hard drives. How much longer are you going to tarnish your name in favor of cutting costs on these drives? You've let me down as a customer and as a consumer and as a reseller of these hard drives. From henceforth, I will be using other hard drives in my designs. Thank you. If you have a comment, leave it down below.